I'm Admiral Jim Kilby, Vice Chief of Naval Operations, and I had the distinct honor of serving as the first commander of the Surface and Mine Warfighting Development Center. Being part of SMWDC from day one, when it was little more than a bold idea and a small team, was a formative experience in my career. When I reflect back on the journey SMWDC has taken over the past decade, I'm awestruck by just how far we've come. What began as a modest concept, a handful of passionate leaders determined to strengthen surface warfighting, has grown into a world-class center of excellence that is reshaping our Navy's future. The foundation was humble, a vision to elevate surface warfare officers by investing in the most important asset we have, our people. At the heart of that vision was the Warfare Tactics Instructor program. The idea was straightforward but ambitious. Develop warfighters who could return to the fleet as force multipliers, embedding tactical excellence and the mindset of warfighting first at every level. Today, WTIs are no longer just part of the vision. They are the vision. They're driving a culture shift across our surface force, transforming how we think, act, and operate. One of the most valuable lessons I learned in those early days was the necessity of keeping warfighting at the core of everything we do, whether we're training in the classroom or deploying at sea. That principle has shaped my path ever since. But none of this transformation would have been possible without the foresight and leadership of Vice Admiral Tom Copeman. His initiative, especially the now famous white paper crafted by then Captain Don Gabrielson, was the spark that lit this fire. Vice Admiral Copeman's ability to see beyond the status quo and imagine what could be set us on the course we are today. We owe a great deal to his vision. We must also acknowledge Vice Admiral Tom Roden, who was the SWO boss when SMWDC stood up. He provided the blocking and tackling to land this idea. Today's SMWDC is supporting combat operations in the Red Sea. As a young fire control officer, I remember sending away Aegis engagement data physically. And when I say physically, I mean by mail, to be analyzed by the technical community. We would wait months to get it back. Now our ships are uploading data from each other, each one of their engagements, and hearing back in 24 hours how the equipment and operators performed. That's a pace of learning that was unimaginable when I was a JO or even a CO. SMWDC has professionalized our surface force. I'm extremely proud to watch this command grow into the formidable training and operational center it is today. Happy 10th anniversary, SMWDC. Well done.
SMWDC was envisioned to improve the ability of the surface warfare community to fight in highly complex environments. Captain Don Gabrielson was the one who translated my vision into an influential white paper that allowed us to get started. The vision was to create a cadre of expert tacticians that would be distributed throughout the fleet, much like the very successful Top Gun school had done in aviation. The WTIs would make the ships better able to fight in complex warfare environments. We also needed a place to develop tactics, and who better to do that than the expert tacticians we intended to create. The whole idea was to create an environment by design where surface warfare officers became expert in surface warfare. This would result in ships more ready to fight and win in complex warfare environments. Maybe the recent Red Sea events are proof of the concept, but we'll never really know, thank goodness. I did not want to wait for a disaster in war to get us to take action. And that's where Frank came in.
We weren't just standing up a command, we were building a warfighting culture. I remember meeting with Vice Admiral Copeman, sketching out what SMWDC was going to be, looking at PowerPoint slides. The idea was simple. Put top technicians back into the fleet on our ships to be able to fight and win. By executing that, it took trust, flexibility, and frankly, a lot of persistence and tenacity. One story that sticks with me is when we started creating Woodies and we started getting them back into the fleet. Within months, they're out on deployment, making changes, changing ship's culture, and developing scenarios. And we knew back then we had something real. The impact of those early Woodies was immediate. Everyone wanted them. There's people out in the audience right now that wanted those Woodies right away. Woodies were and still are in high demand, and that's a great problem to have. You know, looking back, you know, it's the first deputy for SMWDC, and then as first executive director, I'm just so proud of what we've done this past decade. All the great people, civilians, contractors, uniform, for 10 years pushing hard to get where we are today. Thank you for everything you do and for keeping this vision alive.
I'm Lieutenant Commander Josh White. I'm the WTI Management Cell Program Manager at SMWDC. Wheaties used to be seen as a new concept, almost a tactical novelty. But with nearly 800 in active service, they're an essential part of the fleet. I've seen brand new Wheaties tasked by our Navy's most senior leaders to fix complex problems, and they succeed time and time again. I often say the most powerful person in the fleet right now is a Lieutenant Whitty. And that's primarily because they have real seats at the table for major fleet decisions. When the USS Mason incident happened in 2016, Wheaties were still pretty new to the fleet overall, and we're still figuring out how to best use them. Now, we're offering near 24/7 reachback support and providing real-time lessons learned from engagements. This has made a significant difference in how the Navy responds to threats in the Red Sea, but also the rest of the world as well. The demand for Wheaties has never been higher. Sure, they're known for their tactical expertise, but it's those intangibles, their leadership, initiative, their ability to solve hard problems that make them valuable across the fleet. Commanders want them on every team. People are our greatest asset, especially in times of conflict. Warfare tactics instructors are proof of that.
U.S. warship took action to defend Israel, intercepting multiple cruise missiles and drones off the coast of Yemen amid fears of a wider war.
U.S. military officials say Iran-backed Houthi rebels have launched attacks on ships in the southern Red Sea.
The crew of the guided missile destroyer USS Carney, operating in the northern Red Sea earlier today, shot down 3 land attack cruise missiles and several drones that were launched by Houthi forces in Yemen.
I'm Admiral Wilson Marks, former commander of SMWDC. I had the distinct honor of leading SMWDC during the first kinetic naval combat operations in recent history, a moment that truly tested and validated our mission. What had been a forward-leaning developmental command quickly shifted to actively supporting and enhancing the combat effectiveness of the surface fleet in real-world operations. I am incredibly proud of the sailors and civilians who rose to that challenge, adapting, innovating, and delivering warfighting excellence when it mattered most. Together, with our partners across the surface warfare enterprise, we transformed SMWDC from combat focused to combat tested.
Admiral Copeman talked about vision. Admiral Kilby talked about the foundation. Admiral Marks about the crucible combat in the Red Sea. And Frank Olmo talked about the early days of hustle here at SMWDC, just to scratch by and get up, stood up and running. We're no longer the new kid on the block. We are the standard bearers for warfighting excellence in the surface force and across the Navy. We define high-velocity learning. We shape what is to come for the surface force to be ready for any fight, anywhere, anytime. From WTI production to live fire events, we are getting the fleet ready. We are where warships, weapons, and people come together to make the very best of what we have now and advocate for what we need in the future to be ready to fight and win for our national tasking. WTIs are in command, WTIs are at sea, WTIs are training the fleet across SMWDC and all the other training commands. They are making a difference. They're no longer just force multipliers. They are force accelerators in every possible way. What am I most proud of here at SMWDC? Certainly the advancements in tactics, techniques, and procedures, the training that we do, the advanced training we do for the warships, the advocating for the next series of weapons and technologies we need. I'm proud of all of those things. But the number one thing is that we've changed the mindset in the surface fleet. We are committed to warfighting excellence. We are on a path to get ever better and more ready for any adversary in the future. That is the lasting legacy and impact of SMWDC, is that cultural mind shift. We stand on the shoulders of giants. All the plank owners and every person that has served here at SMWDC from those very first early days until today. We benefit from all of their vision and their work. And we now must invest not only to execute on the lines of effort we have and run, but just like they did, to think ahead, to be ready that for 10 years from now that we have started the initiatives that will deliver on the fight when we need it. So thanks for everybody that has helped make SMWDC what it is today and everybody that'll help make SMWDC what it needs to be 10 years from now. Happy anniversary, SMWDC.
Happy anniversary, SMWDC.
Happy anniversary, SMWDC.
Happy 10-year anniversary, SMWDC.
Happy anniversary, SMWDC.
Happy 10th anniversary, SMWDC. It's such a privilege to be part of this organization.
Happy anniversary, SMWDC.
Happy 10th anniversary, SMWDC.
Happy anniversary, SMWDC. Happy anniversary, SMWDC.
Happy Big Ten, SMWDC.
Happy anniversary, SMWDC.
Happy anniversary, SMWDC.